Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning into my channel. Today I am sharing how I make mutton or beef, basically any meat with fenugreek leaves or Methi Gosht. It's one of my absolute favorite recipes. It's so good, especially with parathas. And I'm sharing how to make this in your instant pot. I'm going to be sharing two ways of making it, and you can choose whatever you feel is easier and works best for you. So let's get started with the recipe, but before that, please do consider subscribing to my channel and giving this video a big thumbs up. Coming towards the ingredients, the first thing I have is about 5 to 600 grams of boneless mutton, to which I'm going to add 1.5 tablespoons of ginger garlic paste. And this is frozen fenugreek leaves. These are the fresh ones and not the dried kind. You can get them from most Desi or Arabic stores, especially if you live in Montreal. That's what I'm going to use, about 300-gram packet of that. Then I had one medium-sized onion, which I chopped. And then for spices, it's very basic. You have 1 teaspoon coriander powder, 1 teaspoon cumin powder, quarter teaspoon turmeric, and half to 1 teaspoon of red chili powder. And then I have about a teaspoon of salt or to taste. And here I have some milk. For fenugreek, you always use milk to make the gravy because water is going to turn it bitter. So at any cost, avoid using water. So for the first method, I am going to dump everything in my Instant Pot except for the milk and the fenugreek leaves, and I'm going to pressure cook it for 10 to 15 minutes. For mutton, it's 10 to 15 minutes. For beef, about 35 to 40 minutes. And for the second method, I am going to fry the mutton first with ginger garlic paste. The reason I am doing it is because sometimes after pressure cooking, when you are bonifying or reducing your gravy, the mutton, it starts to shred a little bit, and I want it to hold its shape. I'm using boneless here, but mostly, especially if you use any meat with bone, it tends to fall off a lot. So frying actually helps tighten up and make the outer layer a bit more sturdy so that it holds its shape while it still gets tender in the middle. And you just want to brown it for maybe 3 to 5 minutes till it has a nice color on top of it. We're not cooking it completely at this point. This is what the pressure cooker is going to do for us. So once it was all browned up, I added in all the spices. I'm going to give them a little toss just so that my spices can become a bit more fragrant. Not too much, maybe a minute. And then I am adding in all the onions that we chopped. It was one medium small sized onion. We don't need a lot for this recipe. And then I am going to add the water. For this, I'm using about 3 to 4 tablespoons of water because the onions are also going to leave a lot of moisture. So 3 to 4 tablespoons is good enough, especially because we want to save time afterwards. So for pressure cooking, I am gonna pressure cook it on normal for about 10 minutes for boneless mutton. If you're using mutton with bone, I would do 15 minutes. For beef, I would do 30 to 40 minutes. So you can adjust it accordingly. And once the pressure is up, you want to do a quick pressure release, which means that the moment it's up, you open the valve so that your meat does not overcook and break. So this is how it looks at this point. Your onions should be super soft, and I'm gonna put my Instant Pot on saute mode. And here we want to reduce the water, but before that I am going to check my mutton. Just see if it's cooked and it's softened up. If it's good to go, you can reduce the gravy, but if it's still a bit hard, pressure cook it again for 5 minutes. And you can do it for any kind of meat that you're cooking, for any recipe that you're using. So once the water has evaporated, the oil starts to come out, I'm putting in the fenugreek leaves. And because I'm using the frozen kind, it is gonna take a little bit time for me to get them thawed. I'm using a knife here just to break them up so that they can cook faster and a little bit more evenly. And then all you do is you reduce it and bonify it like any other gravy. So initially I used only about 1 to 2 tablespoons of oil. I'm adding about 3 tablespoons again at this point. I like to add my oil in batches because I don't like overly oily curries. Generally, for making something leafy and green, the recipes call for half to 1 cup of oil, which I find is too much. So I just like to add it gradually depending on whatever I'm making. So you're gonna see that your fenugreek leaves are gonna reduce, and then the oil, it's gonna start coming out. That's when I start adding in the milk. Add it in batches, add a little bit, and then keep reducing and cooking it. So for the recipe, I used a total of 3/4 cup, and I added it in quarter cups. And this is how you make the gravy. You can add even more milk if you want it to have a bit more gravy. And at this point, once you know that your curry is the consistency that you want, at this point, taste the salt and see if you need to adjust it. If it's saltier than you'd like, add a little bit more milk. If it's not, add some more. So this is how it should look. Your oil should come up. That's when you know that it's ready. Again, at this point, I tend to take out a piece of meat and I see if it's perfectly cooked, which it is. It just literally breaks in your hand. It's so juicy and succulent. And here you have it. Your Methi Gosht or Fenugreek Leaf mutton is ready. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this recipe. Please do try it and let me know how it turned out for you and your family. And if you recreate it, please share it with me on my Instagram page, which is by the same name, the homemaker baker _ falakalik. Until next time, the homemaker baker over and out.